Lala is the first person to reach out to Rachel. James and Tom Schwartz have a relationship. Hello, my little liars. Let's go through season 11, episode 1 of Vanderpump Rules, the most important moments and my thoughts on them.
I mean, look, the guy didn't do anything right, but he also, the amount of like disconnect that everybody gave to him was a lot.
I literally messaged him. I said, Tom, I don't even have words right now. I just want you to know we are all sending you our love and condolences. Please reach out if you need us. I want to make sure you're okay.
Let's all be honest. Scheana has been looking for that in as a reason as to why she should reach out to Tom. I understand that he did lose a good friend of his, but still, we all know Scheana was waiting. This was the big opportunity for her to reach out.
Didn't hear from him. I was like, I'm gonna send another message. And that one never delivered. So I'm like, okay, he blocked me.
The fact that he blocked her and not the other way around is absolutely astounding.
Then I looked on Instagram, blocked me, blocked Shenanigans, my sister, blocked Summer Moon.
Like, Sandoval, I get it. You're mad at me, you block me. You hate the podcast, you block Shenanigans. But you're gonna go and block Summer Moon?
Again, the way that she puts that, she goes, Sandoval, I get it. You're mad at me. What do you mean by that, Scheana? Scheana, you should be mad at him. Like, Scheana, oh my gosh. She is someone that just holds zero boundaries and cannot be a good friend to her friends. You will see later in this episode that her and Ariana have grown very, very close during Scandoval. And the fact that she's just looking for a reason to reconnect with Tom is just really upsetting and not shocking. Obviously, it's Scheana, but it is still upsetting.
What? Okay. Being a new homeowner, you're gonna become obsessed with plants.
No, you didn't.
I got you a little monstera.
James and Tom Schwartz have a friendship now. I guess it makes sense. They are the two men in the group that are left after Scandoval. I don't know how I feel about this relationship. I am not a big fan of Schwartz. If you watched my previous videos, you'd know why. However, I think that this could be a good thing and could bring out good sides of both parties involved.
He campaigned so hard. Mr. Marketing Genius put that name on the side of the building. And when you do that, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. Hey, I'm rambling.
Do we just call it Schwartz and James?
I know this might sound cruel, but the fact that Tom Schwartz is actually suffering the repercussions of Scandoval does make me a little bit happy inside. Why? Because he is a big reason that this went as far as it did. He knew when this started and he basically was Tom's shield and allowed this to continue on, which is so foul, especially because he was so close with Ariana. I mean, Ariana was one of his best men and he was one of the people that was allowing Sandoval to go and be with Rachel. They would meet at Schwartz's house. Like, sorry, Schwartz, but...
Please.
After Tom's affair became public, our beautiful bar, Schwartz and Sandy's, became like the scene of the crime. Reservations are down, a bunch of the staff has quit. We felt like zoo animals in there, you know? People were harassing servers, coming in there with a vengeance. It was toxic.
Again, the fact that neither Tom thought about the people that work at their bars is not surprising at all. However, I do not think that the people working there deserve that. But again, this is what happens when you are a public figure, you name a restaurant after yourself, and you do something that people aren't going to like.
Right now, I do have a lot of resentment for Tom Sandoval. He said, I'm sorry that I put you in a tough position and that I essentially used you as a shield for my affair.
Damn.
One of the last things I said to Tom, I was like, after the hell you put me through, after what you did to your friends, what you did to Ariana, I was like, you better spend the rest of your life with Raquel.
I am so proud of him for standing up to Tom. I think this might be one of the few times in their relationship that Tom Schwartz has actually stood up to Sandoval. Good for him. I do think, though, he's so far up his rear end that it's not going to last long, but at least he put him in his place once.
Like a little bit banished from the group, like a pariah.
I know the feeling.
Thank you. Yeah, you do. But thank you for also extending me some empathy and remembering that I am not Tom Sandoval.
You're your best Tom when you're just Tom.
Thank you.
Schwartz.
Thank you.
You're not your best Tom when it's Tom.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I fully agree with James here. Tom Schwartz is far better when he is not under the arm of Tom Sandoval. However, I still think Tom Schwartz has quite a bit of growing to do before I will have any care for him. But it is nice to see that he is taking steps forward and he does see how Tom Sandoval is essentially ruining his life.
I'm really happy to be on good terms with James, you know, despite the little teeny weeny platonic kiss I had with Raquel. Because the way the rest of the gang has been treating me, you know, it's like I almost have to look in the mirror and be like, you're not Tom Sandoval. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes, of course you have to tell yourself that. And the reason is you let it go on for so long. That is your guilt talking, Schwartz. You know you were wrong in what you did, and you're still trying to convince yourself that you are not wrong for that, and that this has nothing to do with you and your actions.
You know, I'm not drinking.
Oh no, I didn't know you were sober again. I thought you were dabbling.
I am so happy to hear that James is not drinking. He did make mention that it has nothing to do with Allie. She did not give him an ultimatum. He chose to do it for himself. He is California sober, but hey, that is the perfect sober for James, because I think he needs a little bit of, you know, to keep himself leveled out, but alcohol is not the thing to do that.
I was bummed we didn't get to go over to your birthday because I wanted her to meet Dan.
I know.
He seems like really good with kids.
Oh, yeah. Well, he has like 2 nephews.
Yeah.
And he like hangs out with them and teaches them to do things they're not supposed to do.
That is 100% Scheana trying to get Ariana to have children with Dan. 100%. No one can tell me otherwise. It's that classic woman with a kid that is trying to get everyone else she is friends with to have children too. Let Ariana be her no children self if that's what she wants. Let it be.
I met Dan at one of my oldest friend's weddings, literally 10, 11 days after everything freaking blew up. He's a personal trainer and a bartender, and he lives in New York, so we're doing a little long distance thing.
I don't think Ariana has fully processed the trauma with Tom. But look, as long as Dan doesn't sleep with one of Ariana's best friends, he's already a giant step up from her ex.
I think it is totally fine. If Ariana wants to be dating, by all means. And I know some people think you should be single to work on yourself, but she wasn't the one that went and stepped out on someone. You know, I think when you are cheated on like that, especially with everyone in the world watching, you're going to move on a lot quicker than most people. The spite alone's going to move you along. And also, Scheana saying that she doesn't think Ariana's fully over it. I think she may be projecting.
I'm 3 weeks of Zoloft with no...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just don't want any alcohol, anything.
My therapist diagnosed me with OCD about 6 months ago, and I felt like I was doing really well until the affair broke. It took my OCD, mixed it with my anxiety, and went to a whole other level where my brain is just going crazy about, well, if Tom could do this to Ariana, could Brock do this to me? Would Brock do something with Lala? And just like, it's been...
As someone who is also diagnosed OCD, I do fully get the whole spiral, but I also, there is still that little part of me that's like, Scheana, you have to make it about yourself. Why? But I do genuinely wish, she has brought it up on a few occasions, but very lightly. I do kind of want to know what she's talking about when she talks about Brock and Lala and what she thinks may or may not have happened due to, you know, her OCD.
Hi. What are you doing?
I'm just relaxing before I go work out.
Oh, okay. I'm nervous.
What are you nervous about?
I'm going to Tom Tom tonight. I haven't been there since like that night that all of that transpired. Part of me was like, should I just not go? And then I was like, no, if I don't go, then it's like, that wins. I shouldn't have to make my life smaller because Tom messed everything up. And if I can go there and make new memories, maybe it won't have power over me anymore, and I'll be able to just look at it as some bar.
You always got me.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot you out from the sideline. From New York.
From New York. Yeah. 2,427 to be exact, I think. I looked once.
So we finally got our introduction to Dan, Ariana's new boyfriend. He seems super adorable. I've seen him all over Instagram, and the way that he treats her seems very, very good. He seems like a very good guy. Hopefully he has all of the best intentions, but you can tell she is ultra giddy when talking to him. And also I like that he is not weirded out by her talking about her ex or anything like that. That is very important in a new relationship.
This like Raquel situation. After like taking a step back, what Raquel said, you know, if I basically go against Tom, I don't have anybody.
I feel like Tom is like my one person that I do have. And if I just like went and betrayed him, then I'd really have nobody.
What I can relate to is feeling isolated and feeling like the person who has made you feel like they're the only one. But if you go against them, you have nothing. I know what it's like to have a man in front of you painting a beautiful picture saying you're the one for me. All the names I was called, me being labeled a home-wrecking whore. Like, if you just lay it out there, they're all true.
I think that might be the first time that Lala has admitted to being a homewrecker. I know that she is now friends with her ex-man's ex-wife, which is good. I know they've made peace, but I do think for a long time Lala was very she would not admit to what had happened even when she knew that to be true. I understand it must suck, but at the same time there was a lot of people telling her like, girl, he's married, and she just chose not to see it.
Lala is actually the last person that I would expect to have empathy for Raquel, especially after their interaction.
Damn, you're a yapping chihuahua.
You're a Rottweiler, we all know.
I wasn't your best friend.
I was 25.
I thought you were a no-name, and then I met you and hated you. What Raquel did, what she said, how she went about things was so stupid.
To be honest, there was a lot of points in the last season that I just was like, wow, Lala is truly a bully. I don't like Rachel at all, but like there was a lot of times where she was just unnecessarily cruel. But what she's about to do here is so uncalled for and hypocritical in my opinion.
Hey Raquel, I'm sure I'm like the last person you expected to hear from. I hope that you're doing okay.
But as someone who knows what it's like to walk through life and see comments about being a mistress, I don't want her to wear that forever.
I don't know if you're back in LA or not, but I'd like to have a conversation with you at some point if you're open to that. All right. Hope to talk to you soon.
How hypocritical. If someone would have done that to Randall, either reached out to Randall or reached out to Randall's mistress, she would have never spoken to them again. I just cannot. And I feel like she's only doing this because she wants to feel better about herself and her own actions. So she needs like Rachel to be forgiven so that she feels forgiven, you know? Icky, 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 ick. Especially with later, we're gonna see that her and Ariana becoming friends. It just, no. How are you going to go from being Rachel's biggest bully to now you're trying to be the one that reaches out to her? Absolutely not. I mean, again, I don't like Rachel, but good for her for not responding, because I genuinely think this was Lala's one way of trying to make herself feel better, and two, potentially furthering her storyline on the show. I've seen her on interviews since. Her reasoning behind it and her not seeing it as hypocritical is weird to me. And I really, really liked Lala up until like mid last season, but now,
I play devil's advocate for one moment.
The devil doesn't need any more advocates. I'll just say that.
I do think that Schwartz needs to like make some moves and change like the direction of his life, but you're also having to think about like the amount of like mental abuse that Sandoval has inflicted upon him for many
years. It's the levels and the layers of unlearning that I've only just started.
Yeah.
I wanted to get closer to Katie for like a long time. And I was always hesitant because Tom Sandoval would constantly be like, just be careful.
Do you feel like that's still happening? Because I feel like you have your guard up with me still.
I don't feel like that now.
Really? I can't tell if you like me or if you tolerate me at times.
I like you. What?
I think Ariana is being incredibly gracious here because I do think there are quite a few reasons why she may want to avoid Lala for past actions, past interactions, all of that. I do think her "I like you" was, I think she's still being guarded in their friendship, which again, by all means.
Like, I know I can be like very, very intense, but I think behind closed doors, like, I'm very sensitive.
We're very similar.
Yeah, but I just feel like I've been a dog in everyone's fight, and I really feel like I'm just left to kind of defend myself a lot of the time.
I'm sorry that I didn't trust your judgment.
I do think you guys need like a you moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want things to be like that. I don't want you to feel it. And I want us to inner circle our asses on.
Again, I think Ariana is being very gracious, and Lala talking about her having a dog in everyone else's fight, but no one really having one in hers. It's like, well, that's because you like to get in other people's fights. I think Lala is one of those people that attacks, but then if someone attacks her, it's like, how dare you? It's very odd. I don't know if it's because she has like a fake ego, low self-esteem. I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
With the moment that we just had, I feel like I need to be very, very honest with you.
Yeah.
Like the last 5 minutes of the Raquel thing. There was one thing that she said in that, which was, if I don't basically follow what Tom has told me, I don't feel like I'm gonna have anybody. I was like, I am feeling like, but I don't want her to wear this for the rest of her life. But I want you to know, I sent her a message last night.
You could see Ariana when she said the whole thing about, I don't want her to wear this for the rest of her life. Ariana's face was very much like, bitch, tread carefully. I would have had the same face on, but I probably would have had a much more different reaction. My other favorite part about this scene is Katie and Scheana's faces are both like, when she says that she contacted Rachel. Amazing. But let's get back into it.
Text or on a voice note.
It is kind of wild if you think about it, because for maybe a year and a half, if anybody interacted with Lala's ex, she was ready to like murder him, cut his balls off. You. When I hear that people are going and communicating with that person, I don't want you in my circle. I just feel like if the shoe were on the other foot and I was reaching out to Randall's mistress, I don't think Lala would be very happy with me.
Exactly. Lala is being such an incredible hypocrite here. It's actually insane. Especially again, like we discussed last video, like how are you gonna go and bully this girl for an entire season and then you're gonna be the one to reach out to her? Absolutely not. And Ariana is right. If Ariana would have done that with Randall or Randall's mistress, Lala would have went nuts.
My feeling is that whatever work she's doing, I hope the best for her, over there, but she's still doing the same stuff. She's still in contact with him, and they're sending packages back and forth to each other.
I know they're still in communication, but hear me out. We're talking about my ex asked me to sign an NDA.
Our ex is not, it doesn't always apply. I mean, she knew better.
Right, and I think someone
She literally came over to my house one time when I was crying. This was like maybe January, and it was very clear that Tom and I were still together. I mean, she was there consoling me, so.
What she did to Ariana was so up, but at the same time, at what point do I sit there and go like, I know this feeling. I know this feeling.
The feeling is the same. The feeling is the same, but I'm just saying the people are different.
I am so glad for Katie to say that because, again, yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't care how you feel. This isn't about you. This isn't your situation. Sorry that you were the mistress. Don't bring it on to Ariana and cause further trauma. Like, it doesn't really matter what happened in your relationship. This is someone else's relationship, someone else's life. Like, step off.
Like your guys' little sister. I know.
Yeah.
That's why I was so there for her. I I was her ride or die. I was a champion for her.
I know you were.
For what she did to also me, like,
She brought you
let's
into
not
the league.
forget about that too.
Sheena, I would never forget
I know,
about
I'm
that.
just saying.
I would
So
never
it's like,
forget about that.
That's another thing. Sheena is Lala's best friend. Lala knows how much, like, this Rachel destroyed Sheena's life for a minute there, whether or not it's, you know, it's Scheana. But still, that is her best friend. How dare she reach out to her best friend's enemy? Absolutely not. What is Lala doing? Genuinely. If I was Scheana, I'd be livid.
I feel like if the only thing Raquel did wrong was fall in love with her best friend Sandoval, that one day maybe we could have still been friends. But the bitch put a temporary restraining order on me, and that has changed everything.
Of course, Scheana would have been friends with her again if she had just fallen in love with her friend and ruined someone else's life. Of course she would have, Scheana. Everyone knows that. In fact, I still think she might. Like, it's Scheana. But the fact that she's like, oh, I totally probably would have let her back in my life if that was the only thing that happened. God, Scheana.
For me, I worry that there are certain people in this world that look at those types of conversations as like a foot in the door. And there's no foot to be had.
I'm glad Ariana is standing her ground. If I was Ariana, I would tread very carefully around Lala. I would not want that person in my circle, period. That is it for season 11, episode 1 recap. Stay tuned as I cover the other episodes as they come out. And as always, give me a follow for celebrity, TikTok, and reality TV news, drama, and piping hot tea.